to Shem. Yeah. Anyway, so obviously the Shavuos Matan Torah, Pasuk says in Parshas Yisrael, Perek Yutes by Revi, Perek Yutes Pasuk Aleph, B'chodesh Hashlishi L'tzeis B'nei Yisrael Me'eretz Mitzrayim, V'yom Hazeh Bo Midbar Sinai. The third month after B'nei Yisrael left Mitzrayim, on that day they came to Midbar Sinai. So Rashi, what's B'yom Hazeh B'Rish Chodesh? Le'haya Tzarech Lichtav Ela B'yom Ahu. They didn't have to write B'yom Hazeh. It should have written B'yom Ahu on that day. What's B'yom Hazeh on this day, specific day? Mahu B'yom Hazeh. So Rashi Sheyu Divrei Torah Chadoshim, or Chavivu Malacha Kilu Hayom Nitnu. That every day when we learn Divrei Torah, it should be as if we got it today. Fine, it's a Gemara. It's in other places in Chazal. Fine. I want to focus on the next pasuk, which I think we're all familiar with, but I want to look at it from a new angle, some more of a mechudesh diga mahalach with some new ideas. Mitzvah. Pasuk Beis, Vayisum Refidim, they traveled from Refidim, Vayavoy Midbar Sinai, and they came to Midbar Sinai. Vayachnu B'Midbar, and they camped in the Midbar. Vayichan Shom Yisrael Neged Ahar, and over there, Klal Yisrael camped opposite the mountain. So a few nekudas. Pasuk Aleph we already said was Bo'u Midbar Sinai, right? Pasuk Beis says they left Refidim and they came to Midbar Sinai. Pasuk Aleph says they went from Mitzrayim to Bo'u Midbar Sinai. And Vayachnu B'Midbar, and that is Vayichan Shom Yisrael Neged Ahar. So let's go through the Rashis here because that's what I want to focus on. Because I think there's a lot here. There's some stuff that a lot of times we're very familiar with, but then a lot of times there's other parts that we're not that familiar with, which I want to touch on. So Vayisum Refidim like Rashi. Why do you have to go back and explain where they traveled from? But like we already mentioned earlier in the beginning of Perek Yud Zayin that they were in Refidim and they traveled from Refidim, so this is the next stop. So say, why does the parsuk have to go back to tell us that they were coming from Refidim? We already know that they traveled from there. There's a hekesh that teaches us that the way they traveled from Refidim is the same way they got to Midbar Sinai. The same way they came to Midbar Sinai with tshuva, so too when they traveled from Refidim was also with tshuva. Okay, we'll see what that means in a little bit. Vayichan Sham Yisrael, this is the famous Rashi. Says this was the one and only place where the entirety of Klal Yisrael, and I mean the entirety, I mean the 110%, 1,000% of Klal Yisrael was all on the same page. Like one person, like with one heart. But all the other times that there was a Chaniyah was B'tarumas of a Machlekes. Whenever other times that they traveled, there were Kretchi and there was Machlekes and there was stuff going on. And it wasn't so peaceful. This was the one and only place, from the 49 Masois that Klal Yisrael, 42 Masois, sorry, correct that. The 42 Masois that Klal Yisrael traveled in the Midbar, this was the only one that was perfect. All the other ones, some were better than others, but this was the only one that was perfect. Neged Ahar L'Mizrachai, B'chol Makom Natam Neged, Panim L'Mizrach, facing eastward. Okay, that's a separate one. Fine. So let's touch on three different nekudas. Number one is the famous Chaim HaKadosh, where he comes to B'miyash of the Kasha that Rashi asked. He already mentioned that they're already coming from Refidim. So what's Pshat? So he says the Pshat is that this was the day, this was the Shpitz. This was the day that the entire world was waiting for. This was the entire Metzias Habriya. The Tachlis Habriya was happening right now. That Klal Yisrael should be Mekabel the Torah. Vayer Vayivaker Yom HaShishi. What's Yom HaShishi? That day, the Hey HaYediyah. The Hey HaYediyah is that this is the day where Klal Yisrael is going to be Mekabel the Torah. If Klal Yisrael is not going to be Mekabel the Torah now, I'm going to turn the whole world into nothing. So they better get the Torah. So because the Torah, the Torah was so excited that they said, they already came to Midbar Sinai. Like, Could be like they weren't even there yet. But then he says, oh, they traveled from Refidim. Yeah, then they came to Har Sinai. Okay, that's point number one. Point number two is that it says that they came from Refidim. What's Refidim? So the Gemara darshans in Bechiris and elsewhere that Refidim means Sharafu Yudayim and Torah, that they got Shvat in Torah, and then Amalek came. So last year's Shavuos, I was busy with a vort that Kabbalah Torah can only come after we destroy Amalek. So Amalek comes, we destroy Amalek, then we can even Kabbalah the Torah. But pay attention to what Rashi's saying over here. That we have a Hekesh Nisiyasa Merafidim will be also Limud Bar Sinai. Ma be also Limud Bar Sinai B'tshuva. After Nisiyasa Merafidim B'tshuva. The same way that when they left Refidim was B'tshuva, so too when they came to Har Sinai was B'tshuva. So honestly, I didn't really see anybody say what the Nakud of the Tshuva was, but I think we can understand a little bit that if they're going to be Mekabel the Torah now on Har Sinai, and we know that there was a shtickle batchup when they were in Refidim, because Sharafi Yadam and Torah, so they had to understand now that they were traveling to Har Sinai from that, and they better fix themselves up. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to be Mekabel the Torah. And it got to the point where they fixed themselves up so well, where there was Shayach, the Madrega of Ke'ishach or the Levach, something that we don't find anywhere else. So when they left Refidim B'tshuva, that allowed themselves, meaning that the hechsher for them to be Mekabel the Torah was because they left Refidim B'tshuva, therefore they were able to be Mekabel the Torah on Har Sinai, but it had to come from, it was B'tshuva. So I want to get into this a little bit more. But first I want to say something over I want to learn it inside a little bit from Dayan Fisher, so Yankee Fisher. So he has many svarim, Chuvas and Gemara and other things, but he has a Ala Torah also, and he has a Mahalach over here. So he brings like this, it's sort of beer. How do you know that when they came to Midbar Sinai it was B'tshuva? And how do you know that when they left Refidim was B'tshuva? So it's partial l'char, we could say that it was B'tshuva because it says Vayichan Sham Yisrael Neged Har, and Rashi brings this K'ishachav Levachot, but in all the other places there was Machlokes and Tarumas. So the pasuk is telling us about Kabbalah Torah there was a tonight that they needed to be K'ishachav. So Vayichan is Loshen Yachid, so we learn from that they were K'ishachav. But how do you know that they were B'levachot? So you have to say, because if they're not B'levachot, it's not possible for them to be K'ishachav. What does this mean? So it's like this, that in order for, really there's a Lashon Chazal, I should have wrote it down. There's a Lashon Chazal basically that says, there's different Lashonos, different Nusais, but basically if even one Yid would be missing from Matan Torah, it wouldn't have happened. Meaning physically, they had to be there, and spiritually also they had to be there. We know that the pasuk says, and Esa Sheyeshnai Pai Meidi Manu Hayam Basharinanu Pai, the Tatre Chazal Darshan that all the neshamas were Amid al Har Sinai. And the Mechilta says, Hitaka brings the Mechilta. The Mechilta says, Ki B'yem HaShlishi Yerid Hashem La'ina Kol Am al Har Sinai. It says on the third day Hashem is going to come down in front of the whole in front of the whole nation on Har Sinai. Ma'u La'ina Kol Ha'am. What does it mean that Hashem is going to come down in front of all the nation? It could have just said La'ina Ha'am. What's La'ina Kol Ha'am? Melamed Shem Hayuch Seren Echad Enon Kedai L'Kabel. If even one Yid would be missing from there, it wouldn't be shaykh to be Mekabel the Torah. So there was a Tanai Kabbalah Torah that everybody needed to be there. And not just everybody needed to be there, but everyone had to be completely focused on the matter of Kabbalah Torah. In the same way that the Shishim Riboy Oitzis La Torah, the Shishim Riboy people, Neshamas and Klal Yisrael, and the same way that if you're missing one letter in the Torah, the Sefer Torah is puzzle. I mean, even if you have one cloth, but it's the Sefer Torah is puzzle. The Iker Kedusha Sefer Torah comes about because you have the exact amount of all the letters in the Sefer Torah, and it's not just that we have all the, we could have the other letters on a different cloth, but it doesn't help because you have to have everything together. And again, so in order to be Mekabel the Torah, you need to have the whole entirety of the Shishim Riboy of Klal Yisrael. And in order to be Mekabel the Torah, meaning the Torah including all Taryag mitzvahs, you need to have all of Klal Yisrael do being mekabel together, because the person doesn't have a field, can't be mekabel to certain mitzvahs. The person doesn't have a house, can't be mekabel to certain mitzvahs. And Kehanim can do certain mitzvahs, and this is Torah that we know. So avada and avada, that's that's Torah that we always say. But I think that there's an emek here besides for everything that we said until now. It doesn't just mean that it was like brotherly love, we all got along with each other. It means that there was no inner conflicts between there's three types of mitzvahs, we like to say. There's ben adam lachavera, between man and fellow man, ben adam lavakem, between man and God, and ben adam la'atzmai, the internal connection that a person has with himself. And who's the real you? Who's the real Anochi? Who's the Ani? Who am I? So, in order for a person to be Mekabel the Torah v'yistartzayin, so it doesn't just mean that a person has to love his fellow man. That's ben adam lachavera. You need to have belev echad. The pasuk says by Esav, Vayikach Esav es kol nafsheis beisav. All the nefashos of his household. That's lashon rabbin. And Yaakov Avinu, it says in Parshas Vayigash, kol hanefesh lebeis Yaakov. All the nefesh of Beis Yaakov. What? It wasn't one person; it was 70 people. So how is it kol and nefesh? It's a lashon yochid. Even though Esav had only 6 people, Yaakov had 70 people with him. But Rashi brings B'Shem the Medrash because by Bnei Esav, who oivdin lelehois harbe, Masha'inke Bnei Yaakov, who oivdin lekel echad. By Esav, everyone was worshiping a different god, but by Yaakov, everyone was worshiping one God. There was no meaning. We always say that Kishach B'Lev Echad means that me and you have to get along. Fine, we can understand that, but it means over here that if a person goes off the path of the truth, he veers away from the path of the Torah. Even if I could get along with you, but I'm not focusing on the Lev Echad. Because the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Klal Yisrael is that the Gemara says that Chishab Adam Lasses Mitzvah B'Nenas Ma'alo Lo B'Kosov Kilu Asay. If a person wanted to do a mitzvah, but didn't get a chance to do it, so because he was an Einus, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at it as if he did the mitzvah. What's the pshat? Meichatesi. He didn't do it. So we know because Rahman Aliba boy, the Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu follows after the heart of a person. Where's the heart of a person? The heart of a person is his ratzon. What was this person's ratzon? His ratzon was to do the mitzvah. Okay, ask you a very simple question. Meichatesi, his ratzon was to do the mitzvah. Maybe he didn't want to do the mitzvah, and that's why the earnest came about. Over Zakta Maral and Zakta others that the pshat is that the Klal Yisrael Be'etzem Zera wants to makabel the Torah. This is without any question, without any doubt whatsoever. That their Ratzon is, no matter how low they are, they want to do the Ratzon Hashem. And that's what we got when we came to Har Sinai. So it's not just the pshat that it's Kishach HaBlevachad, but it's that I have a personal Ratzon that my heart and my Metzias wants to be ma'achid with the Torah, that my heart and my whole Metzias, even though I'm full of conflicting issues, but everyone, someone has a problem with Parnas, and someone has personal issues, and someone has the Kina and Sinna, and there's Titus, and all kinds of things. So, but when it came to Matan Torah, there was none of this anymore. Anybody that had any sichsuch, anybody that had any eitzah, not with somebody else, but with even by himself, he was able to come to a certain level of Yishuv Adas, and he was able to recognize that this is where it's at, that this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu really wants from us, and this is what we're going to be, and this is where we're at. But when a person recognizes that his whole Metzias is Ratzon Hashem, and there's nothing else, so then there's no Kinna, there's no Sinna, there's no Taiva, there's nothing else. The pasuk says in Mishlei, "L'Taiva Vakish Nifra." Taiva is seeking to separate. Taiva never puts people together. Taiva always separates people. It separates people. If people get together, it means that if people get together and they're able to spend their lives together, that means that it's something that's even greater than, meaning the Ava that's there is even greater than Taiva, because Taiva is something that separates. Masha'en real Ava is the glue that's going to hold them together. So when we say in Davening, that when the Shaykh to become a good achas, only when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created everybody's ratzon to do it b'lev of shalem, because ain't Talmud Ratzin. There's no svara of why I like this person and why I like this food or why I like that food. There's no svara to it. It's something that's l'maylam and asvara. So that's a pshat in, and that's really the pshat in what's going on over here. That's belief of Shalom. So now we could say that that's a pshat. When they left Refidim, they came to Har Sinai. Makash nesiyasam Refidim l'biyasam b'midbar Sinai. Ma b'yasam b'midbar Sinai b'tshuva. So how did Mechatesi? So we asked Mechatesi that they left b'tshuva and they came b'tshuva. So the fact is that because it says Vayicha Meloshin Yachid, Shanasu Kulam Kish Echad B'Lev Echad. B'Lev Echad means that it has to. The only way it's shaykh to create a Lev Echad is only through tshuva. And if you don't have tshuva, it's not shaykh to have a Lev Echad. So the same way when they left Refidim was b'tshuva because they had Amalek, and Amalek came. What's Amalek? Amalek is the Spitz period. Amalek says Amalek says is everything happens by chance. There's no smart, there's no sequence of events. Anything that happens, it's just the mikra. Anything that happens, it just happenstance. There's no seder and there's no svara. Masha Enkein, Klal Yisrael views everything as a shkacha pratis. So the whole the Spitz type of understanding what Amalek is, it's l'tavi avakish rifra. They want to make period. They don't want anybody to have anything. What does it say by Melchemes Amalek? Pasuk says, the Gemara Roshana says, "V'chiyadu shalmai sha'isis l'cham v'shabris m'chalma elu lemalav kol zman shoyu Yisrael mistakim klape ma'ila v'shavlim mislibam lavim shebashamayim." They would win the war, right? Mishavlim mislibam. The Gemara says that in order for this whole thing to work, it needs to be v'haya kasher yorim Moshe yodav v'govar Yisrael kashaniach yodav v'govar Amalek. What does this mean? So Rashi just brings the Gemara that in order for Klal Yisrael to win the war, they were mishavdim as libam lavim shabbat shemayim. Once they were mishavdim as libam lavim shabbat shemayim b'melchemes Amalek, when they came to Midbar Sinai, they said, we could do this again. Let's be mishavdim as libeinu to do Ratzon Hashem of whatever's happening by Sinai. I was thinking like this. I was thinking l'chayra a very interesting sach. That it goes like this. Avnei Nezer brings, or the Shem Yishmael brings from Avnei Nezer. See if I can find where I put it over here. 1 second. The concept of tshuva is like this. We mentioned a few times the concept of Toiv Ayin. That the Toiv Ayin is that he sees the good in everybody. And the emes is that the whole Torah that we have today exists only because of the midah of Toiv Ayin. Because after the Egel, what happened was that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Rabbeinu that Klal Yisrael is not really right for the Torah. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, okay, fine, but Moshe was melamed as Moshe gave the Torah to Klal Yisrael with Torah Einoi. So the whole mitzvah of Torah that we have comes from the Torah Einoi of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of Moshe Rabbeinu. But I think that there's something else over here also, that there's an akuda of when you, or maybe it goes together with the mitzvah of Torah, but when a person doesn't see anything wrong with the other person that's next to him. I just like you because I like you, not because you have good knowledge. It's not ava hatli b'davar b'chlal, right? The Gemara says, the Mission Pirkei says that if it's ava hatli b'davar, b'tla davar, b'tla ava, right? If this kid's your friend because he brings a good super snack for a snack, so if he doesn't bring super snack, you don't want to be his friend anymore, right? So, I mean, that's mitachal elishma balishma. Eventually, it can lead to later on. It can lead to a relationship that can help, that can be more than just super snack. But upon him, it's a very superficial kind of ava. So what's going on in here? So the concept is that tshuva means it's milashon shav. Everything goes back. Everything goes back to its shirish. So if I realize where I come from, and you realize where you come from, and I realize where you come from, and we all realize that we're really only one, and I'm doing tshuva because I have to go back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu because of something that I did wrong or I should have done better, and you realize that there's something that you did something wrong, and you realize that you have to do something better, so you're also shav. We're all going back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So by us going back to the Kodesh Baruch Hu, we're all going home, so to speak. So when we're all realizing that, and we're all realizing we have to go back, so then even though there was a matzav of Rafi Yadayim and Torah, we're able to correct that by traveling away from that and going to Har Sinai. And the etzem is that the Metzias is that any time we back off from a matzav of Rafi Yadayim and Torah, that automatically leads us to a Naya Kabbalah Satorah. So, and that's the general rule, because whenever and like Rashi says, that should always be chava b'lecha, like that day that you got it. And the concept is that each person, like you said before, Klal Yisrael is like one goof, and each person contributes, equally. A person doesn't say, well, I don't need my finger, I don't need my foot. And that's the concept of tshuva, is that everything is going back to Mekayma, that everybody realizes that they're part of this one goof. But I want to be Meisav Nachan Akuda. The Shem Shmuel brings from the Varka, who was one of the big rebbes in Poland, and he says that Vayichan is Milashon Chen. So Chen, when we say that somebody has sin as Chinam, it means that he hates that person for no reason. Chinam is for no reason. There's no pshat. Chinam is something that's for free. If something's free, I don't care for it. Maybe I'll take it, maybe I won't take it. But the concept of Chen is you can't not like. The concept of Chen is that you can't not like it. What does this mean? So, Al Pi Ha'omar, what we just explained, that when they came to Midbar Sinai b'tshuva. So once everyone's in tshuva, everyone cleansed their systems already. There was a Gavaldic detox before Matan Torah. Everyone got rid of all their kindness in other people and all their prejudice in other people. So that's why they had a Meshuna de Gechen between one another. And not only between one another, each person on his own had to give us a chen. Because if I like you, I really like you, I'm really good friends with you, I'm going to overlook all the bad things. And the Gemara, it's a Gemara. The Gemara on Saitan and Afim Zayin says a story with Elisha in Sefer Malachim Beis. Elisha had a Maisa with the 42 kids, the Ne'orim that were bothering him, and the pasuk says, "Vayomru anshe ir al Elisha." The people of the city told Elisha, "Hinin ha'maishav ir tov." Gashar da'ini rai. We live in a good city, like you see. V'chimei achar t'mai. So, frankly, Gemara v'chimei achar t'mai ro'am be'artzam shakelas elamatei vasa. So the story was that the water, they couldn't drink the water. The water was bad, and these 42 kids just got killed. So what's so good about this place? So Amr Reb Chanan Chen Makam Al Yoshvav. The beauty of your hometown on the people that live there. And obviously the Mefarshim speak out of here that Chanan obviously is Milashon Chen. It's like the Gemara Amr Reb Yechanan. Reb Yechanan is also Milashon Chen. Shalosh Chenos Chen. There's three things that have Chen. Chen Makam Al Yoshvav. The Chen of a place that a person lives in. Chen Isha Al Baila. The chen that a wife has to the husband, or that the husband has for the wife, chen mekach al mekhay, and the chen that an item has on the buyer. So Rashi says that chen isha tamar al bayil v'afili b'chorer says it's same enough. Your wife is your wife. You love her anyways, no matter what she looks like. You bought your car. It's full of dents. It's full of scratches. Everyone's laughing at it, but you love it. Why do you love it? Because it's yours. You're not going to give it up for any money in the world, right? Move to Texas. No way. You're going to have a house that's 50,000 square feet. No way. I don't know anybody there. There's nothing in it for me. I live in my 2x2 bedroom over here. I'm much happier over here because it's my place. There's a certain chen that I have that I'm connected with the place. And it's rather very interesting. I was thinking of a very partial. The Makam of Klal Yisrael is by Har Sinai. Har Sinai, it's in the Midbar, it's here, it's nowhere, it is a place, it's not a place. There's no cheshivas for Har Sinai Acham Antar because B'chal Yibenech Chadashim. But the point is that if I'm in good company, it doesn't matter where I am. It doesn't matter if I'm in the Midbar, it doesn't matter if I have a flat tire on the side of the highway in the middle of the night. If I'm in good company, I'm good. That's a certain chen that I have with the people that I'm with. Klal Yisrael, when they came to Har Sinai, there was no machlekes, there was no tarayis. Why? Because they knew they were getting the Torah. There's a certain chen that they had amongst each other that everything just fell into place. And I think l'chera that's the parsha to Taisha. What's going on over here by Vayichan Shem Yisrael Neged Har. Zok the Marsha Nir Lefarish the Vadak for Nigzar Al Kol Mokim Yishuv Al Yad Rishon. This that a mokum is chen mokum al Yeshvav is it was already Nigzar in each place Al the Adam Rishon like the Gemara Kidamrinu Le'el. Ela Shaloi Nigzar Mi Hu Yiyah HaYoshiv Ba. But it wasn't Nigzar yet who will live in that place. While Kain Omar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Noisim Chen La'osim Mokum LaYoshiv Sham. V'cheinu be'isha, the same is true with a woman. Shekvar Nigzar L'Ish Lisa Isha. There's already a xera that this man is going to marry a woman. The life Tarv Liyas Levala Bas Pliny LePliny. There's a Bas girl that goes out and says Bas Pliny is going to marry Pliny. Like the Gemara site that says on that base. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu Noisim Chen La'osim Bas Shetiyaz U'Gasai. After the Xera, HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates a chen that the shidduch should work out. Now, a lot of times things don't work out. But Be'etzem, originally in the beginning, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as you know, I think that L'cher Pashat, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the chen. You just have to see the chen. You have to have your eyes. You have to be looking for a certain chen that's there that you may not be able to see regularly. You may have to think about it. You have to spend time trying to figure out what the chen is, whether that's chen malkum hayoshvav, chen yishal baila, chen malkum halmitvai, right? Because not everything that you buy you keep. Amazon is full of returns. The ganze Tag, the ganze Zeit is people returning. So, Elamar, it's not in ganzen that every mekach is automatic. But I just want to say something interesting to Zach. There's a lashon in the Rishonim. It's not a Gemara. When it's a lashon in the Rishonim, it comes from the Orchos Chaya. There's a Rishon. Kalanaise Isha, somebody married a woman, Kilu Amar B'yem Matan Torah. As if he's standing by Matan Torah. And the Gemara says, the Gemara darshans the concept of chen by Talmud Torah also, and the Mepharshim ask it. It's interesting because the Gemara over here in Saita doesn't mention anything about Torah. Just Isha, Makkah, Mekach, nothing about Torah. Right? This is Gemara Erevin, Daf Chafal from the base, Yalas Chen, Ksubis Daf Hayazayin, it's that Torah is Yalas Chen. Is Malach Chen Alim Deha, right? So what's that that this Gemara doesn't say that? But there's a Gemara in Sukkah that Mem Tesam al Beis. Kol Adam Sheish Alav Chen. If a person has Chen, meaning he's to use the term charismatic, maybe the closest word that we could get. V'yadua Shohi Shemayim. A person who has this chen, where everybody likes him, so to speak, and nobody can see bad about him, you should know that he's Yirei Shemayim. Shenamar v'chesed Hashem me'olam v'ad olam al Yireya. That this person who's so b'chein, that's the word to use. And the reason why he's like that must be because he's Yirei Shemayim. Because this chesed that Hashem gave him, me'olam v'ad olam, you can't get rid of this chen, it's because he's Yirei Shemayim. And where does this Yirei Shemayim come from? It comes from Har Sinai. How do we know? As I stated in Pasuk, as I stated in the Gemara. The Gemara in Dharma Daf Chav says, Tanya, Bavur Tia Yiras Al Penechem Zebusha. That the Yira that you'll get, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the Torah, Bavur Tia Yiras Al Penechem is Busha. Levilti Sechatot, you shouldn't be Chaytim, Elamish Ham Busha, Mevia Lidei Yiras Chet. It teaches us that Busha, the shyness and the humility and the tznius that comes along with Busha, brings to Yiras Chet. Mikan Amru. So from here we say, Simin Yafa Ba'adab Shubaisha. It's good for a person to be bashful. A person who's bashful, a person who's not a poro, it's a person who's naig ba'anova and b'tznius. It's a Simin Yafa, it's a good sign, and people are going to like him because of that. Acherim say, Kol Adam HaMizbayish, let them heru chayte. Somebody who's bashful is not going to do Averis too quickly because he recognizes that there's HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's always watching him. Misha ein lo baishas panim, somebody doesn't have busha, v'yadua shle'amdu ha'voisav al Har Sinai. He's also listen. You should know that his fathers did not stand on Har Sinai. Now, all the neshamas of Klal Yisrael were there, but we're saying that the inheritance that we got at Sinai was this midah of busha. The lashon of the Archa Sadikim is abusha, he has seichel, and seichel he abusha. Torah is the seichel alaki. that gives us the busha, that gives us the tznius and the anava, and how to be noig with this midah of busha that brings to your shemayim. That the whole concept of giving the Torah was to have this chaim, which lends itself to this bashfulness, and will take away from this whole matzav of the preachers, which all this is going against. So there are many other gemaras that we can stel to over here, but I'll call upon them. I'll go upon them like this. The Gemara says that Rabbi Yechanan, again, Rabbi Yechanan is Vilashon Chaim, called. So when he was being nifter, so they were crying. So they asked him why they were crying. So he says, "Al Shufar the Bali Ba'ara." And this goof that's going to be sitting in the dirt, it's going to be lying in the dirt. Yeah, that's what happens to everybody, but it's only a goof. It's not. It's only an external thing. Ma'arash. It's only external. What's the big deal? Abazak the Marsha and Brachas Alachem and Beis. It's a pshadas that Rabbi Yechanan was Mishpira Yerushalayim. His chain, his physical appearance, his physical chain came from kedusha. What's this kedusha? This kedusha came from Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is the most bachinta place in the world, as I state in the Gemara. There's Yerushalmi and Yuma that brings the same thing, and also said that if there wouldn't be chain in the land, Klal Yisrael never would have been able to get a chaluk in Eretz Yisrael, because everyone would always be arguing with everybody. It lends itself to that we shouldn't be mekani each other. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives a certain siyata d'shmai. The chain that we're talking about over here is a certain siyata d'shmai that I could see the good in it, and even if it looks bad, but I could see the good in it, and I could appreciate it for what it is, even if it's just for me, even if my closest people won't understand it. So that's the pshat and why Rabbi Yechanan, why they were crying when Rabbi Yechanan was, before he was nifter, because he says al haishra for the bali va'ara, because it's the kedusha and the tznius and the chain that comes along with it. Well, Chayra, we asked the Kasha, let's go back to Kasha for a second. We asked the Kasha that this Gemara Saita brings three things. Chen Makom al Yoshva, Chen Isha al Baila, Chen Mekach al Mikray. They didn't say anything about Torah, again that there are other Gemaras that mention the concept of Chen, that it's Yalas Chen, right? Like the Gemara and Ksubis, the Ein Zayin and Beis, the Rishon ben Levi would learn Torah with the Balei Rason. Balei Rason was a Shreklicha disease that was very, very contagious. It was like some type of coronavirus. And anybody who would go near these people would automatically get consumed by this illness, and it would have been terrible. But Rishon ben Levi says that I'm going anyways. I'm going to go with these people. People told him you're not allowed to. It's dangerous, blah, blah, blah. He said, no, I'm going. So he says, what do you mean you're going? So he says, because if Torah is malachim, so certainly it can protect me from illnesses. Well, Chayra, Pashut, we know from Rishonim already, V'yem Chasunasai, V'yem Simchas Libai, V'yem Chasunasai is Matan Torah, it's tomorrow already, V'yem Chasunasai is Matan Torah. Many of the Menahagim that we have by a Chasana today is to replicate and to duplicate the Maimed of Har Sinai. And the concept is all these three things in the Gemara. Chen Makom al Yoshvav, Chen Isha al Baila, and Chen Mekach al Mikray. And L'chera, Chen Makom al Yoshvav, we explained that Har Sinai is the pshat that we don't see any value in Har Sinai today than any other place in any other desert in the world. If you're an historian and you're an academic and you want to try to find Zachin that Kol HaKavod, knock yourself out, but in the Torah there's no cheshivas for it. Why not? What happened to it? Right? But the pshat is because it's B'chal Yemi B'nefek HaChadoshim. And any time we move ourselves away from Ra, we automatically encounter Nachat Kedusha, the same way that when there were Rav Yidayim in Atera, they saw to it that they have to do Tshuva, and they go and they automatically end up, automatically the next stage is Har Sinai. So too, that's any time we go. So that's Chen Makom al Yoshvav. But I want to be nice, just one to put that by Chen Makom al Yoshvav, it says, the Maharsha we mentioned, the Maharsha and Saita, that Adam Rishon, the Gemara says that wherever Adam Rishon said that there's going to be a Yishuv, so that's there's going to be a Yishuv. Where was Adam Rishon created? So the Gemara says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu took offer from all over the world and mushed it together and made Adam from it. And the Maharsha and Marcus says that's why people like traveling the world. That's why people have a curiosity, because they want to go back to the sherish. This part of me, which is, I mean, I'm a chelik of that part of the Risha, which came from Waterbury. So that's why I stick around the Waterbury. That's where I come from, I guess. But it's very interesting. Where was Adam Rishon created? Where did HaKadosh Baruch Hu take all this big huge mountain of Ofar and create Adam Rishon? So like the Rambam, it comes from a Gemara. It's Yerushalmi. The Rambam says in Hilchos Beis Abchira, where he's talking about the Mizbeach, the Rambam says, "Hamakom HaMizbeach Mechuven b'Yosef." There's a very specific and strict place where the Mizbeach has to be. Where is that? Under Har Moriah. The Har Moriah is the place where the Mizbeach is. Adam Yimakom Kaparas and Nivra. Adam was created in his place of Kapara. He didn't even do a chet yet. When Adam was created, he didn't do a chet yet. So why does he need to be Mimakom Kaparasa? Because the concept of tshuva, see, we have this notion, and we're used to it from kindergarten, that tshuva means I do mistakes, I have to apologize. Tshuva means to go back to my shrashim. The marshal, this is more el shmuz, but the marshal of a father chases away the son, right? And the son wants to come back. When they embrace, that's tshuva. He didn't necessarily do anything wrong. He didn't necessarily do an avera, but tshuva means he's going back to his shirish. I want to connect to my roots more than I was before. But it's straight a murder gezach, straight in Medrash, that all the mountains in the world came together to be by Har Sinai. And the one that was there, the one that was next to Har Sinai was Har HaMoriah. It was like straight in Medrash. Whatever it's supposed to mean, they physically moved or whatever it is. But Har HaMoriah was there by Mountain Torah. What does Har HaMoriah got to do with Mountain Torah? Because Adam in Makom Kaparas Nivra, Chein Makom Al Yoshva, the Makom HaYishuv which was Shtel Davek by Adam Rishon was Shtel Davek by Har Sinai, and it's very interesting because there's different styles of learning that are based off of different places. The Mekubalim are very busy with this. That the Svardim have this tikkun, so the Torah that the Svardim have is a certain oifin, and the Ashkenaz people, their Torah is a different oifin because they have to be Masak and other things. We could ask a simple question that the place should have a hashpa on the Torah that they're learning, right? But the same way, it's partial. That's why Yichan Sham Yisrael Neged Har, that wherever we're selling a back, this is what Chen Makom Al Yeshvav means. That this Chen of Matan Torah exists in all places wherever Yid is going to be, and it's going to bring out that Torah the same way that the Shishim Ribi Oisis La Torah, and every Yid is connected to another Ois in the Torah. That Ois has a specific place where that Torah needs to be brought out. And if there's a Torah that needs to be brought out in Waterbury, let it be brought out in Waterbury. If there's a Torah that needs to be brought out in Panovich, let it be brought out in Panovich. If there's a Torah that needs to be brought out in Lakewood, it has to be shelled. That chiddush that this younger man in Lakewood is going to say, that it was never said before since B'ris Olam, since Sheshes Mebereshis, which was given over to Moshe by Har Sinai, was destined to come out of Lakewood, specifically Waterbury, specifically Panovich, and it's murdered. Yeah? But all three things that the Gemara is talking about, Chen Makom Al Yeshua, Chen Ishal Baila, and Chen Mekach Al Mekai, are all referring to Matan Torah. This whole Gemara is a reference to Matan Torah. So Chen Makom Al Yeshua, we explained Chen Ishal Baila is the Kedushin, which was by Matan Torah. Bim Chasum Nasa is a Sinai, because it says Kidashtem Hayom Amachar Lashon Kedushin. And the Gemara also says that Chen Mekach Al Mikra, because the pasuk says Ki Lekach Tev Nasati Luchem Terasi Al Tazoivu Es HaMekach Shenasati Luchem, right? But there's a fascinating thing that the Gemara says that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is not Kemidas Basav Adam. Why? Because Midas Basav Adam is that if I sell you a car, I'm going to be sad that I don't have my car anymore, right? Pasha send me the money or something like that, right? But HaKadosh Baruch Hu he gave a Mekach to Klal Yisrael, and he was Sameach, right? So the Chen Mekach HaMikrai is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Sameach, and that Klal Yisrael is Sameach with the Torah. And that's a pshat kilekach Torah. It's a gemara. It's a gemara that actually is a positive. Kilekach Torah satim. Torah al tazovu. Al tazovu is a mekach shenasati lechem. Because Baruch Hu is very happy. Calls him out holding his mekach. So now, when Klal Yisrael camps in front of Har Sinai, we have all these three things of Chaim. In the Haggadah, we say, Ilu Nasalanu was a Shabbos, Ilu Kervanu L'fnei Har Sinai, Ilu Nasalanu was a Torah, are these three things. Ilu Kervanu L'fnei Har Sinai is the kirv of the chasana between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael. The pasuk says, Vayara lekim es kol asher also v'nei tov ma'od vayara vayver k'yem hashishi. The Medrash says, V'hinei tov ma'od mashal l'melech shabana paltin. It's a marshal to a king that built himself a palace. Roy Savarvala. He says, it's beautiful. Omar, Palton, Palton. My palace, my palace. Halavai te malas chen lefona b'choleis. Kishem shehilisa chen lefona b'shazu. The king says a prayer. He says a tefillah. He says the same way that I'm enjoying the splendor and the beauty and the freshness of how my palace looks now. Every moment, I should always treasure the moment. I should always feel the same gishmak that I have when I'm looking at it now. And we said that the Yom HaShishi was the Tanai Matan Torah. So really, this that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, is the same way that your malachain right now, b'shas the bria, you should be malachain at all times. And the Torah is like that because the Torah is something that's malachain b'chol eis. That's the Gemara in Eruvin says. But it's more than that, because by Matan Torah, all three of these chains came together. It wasn't just the chain of the Mekach or the chain of the Makom. It's the chain of the Makom, it's the chain of the Mekach, and it's the chain of the Ishtal Baila all in one. And I think that's a mordiga way to look at it. But I think that the underlying kudde over here is that when something is the Gemara says that the Beis Hamikdash was charav because of sinas chinam. So if you break into my house at night and steal all my jewelry and I have a tine on you and I hate you for that, yeah, I have a right to hate you. You did a real avla to me. You did something really bad to me. Should I be marchal you? That's a different story. Maybe yeah, maybe not. You shouldn't be an achzor. You should be marchal. You shouldn't steal from me either. But if I hate you just because I don't get along with you because of whatever, right? I hate you because I don't get. That's sinas chinam. It's petty. It's silly. It's shtuyot. Right? The Beis Hamikdash was charav because of that. And it was Leinas Galu Avainim Leinas Galu Kitam because they harbored the hate in their hearts. So it wasn't this Galu Kitam, we're still in the Galus because of that. Right? But if we're able to be Mala, the tefillah should be that we should be two things. That we should be able to be, that the Torah that we're learning should be Mala Chain in our eyes. That the Torah should always be Kachatoshim and Yishmak, like the Gemara Eruvin says. But also, we should be able to see the Chain in all of the Yidden. And we should be able to be Chayzer b'tshuva in the sense that we're talking about over here, the same way that when they left Refidim, they were Oisim b'tshuva, there was b'tshuva. When they came to Har Sinai, was b'tshuva. The tshuva, now that everyone's clean, so I'm not better than you and you're not better than me, so we're all able to be Mekabel the Torah together. Once we're all able to be Mekabel the Torah together, that's Yeshach and Levacha. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu was looking forward to. It's not the pshat, because Hashem gave the Torah and it was such a big deal. The greatness was because all of Klal Yisrael was completely cleansed from the tshuva that they did when they left Refidim, and now they're able to Mekabel the Torah, and that Yiratzon that we should be zeichet to Mekabel the Torah with this Gevaldige Chain, and we should be able to see the Chain in all of the Yidden, and we should be zeichet to the Kula Shleim and B'mheir B'yameinu Amen. All right, Gevaldig.